Hello, mortals! This is the Booktube Goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube, and this is a Get Ready With Me, where I get into drag makeup while I to film videos later today. And we have Lori, yay! Lynette's here, thank you so much for showing up. Britta is here, fabulous, glad to see you, Britta. Yeah, glad to see you back, Lori. And Sandra's here. Yes, I hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, this is Saturday morning for me, so we're all on different time zones. I think Lynette beats us for the most different time zone. Okay, so let me grab my coffee. It's like running a little bit late, as per usual. Okay, sorry about that. I have my coffee. Stop. Yeah, Britta, how dare you have a life? Stop bragging about it. Oh, Cappuccino's here. Yay. Cool Gamer's here. Mooney's here. Oh, and Mooney, if we're going to do a video next week, it's around this time, an hour or 2 hours from now. So whatever time it is for you, 2 hours later, we'll probably start a video if you still want to do it. It's early Sunday morning for Lynette. Britta is the social animal. Are you being facetious? Before I go out or go to bed. Yay. Yes, I have my coffee. Okay, will do. So how's everyone's reading going this week? Oh, I have something to tell you. I read another Robert Heinlein juvenile. Like I've been saying, I'm catching up on those and may do a dedicated video to it at some point. I'm thinking once I read 10, I'll do I'll rank them in order, something like that. Anyway, but after that, I wanted to read something fun and light. I just wanted a fun book. And I remember, I think it was Lori and Cappuccino talked about Legends and Lattes. So I just started that. I'm like barely into it. Well, I'm like 20% into it, but loving it. It is so much fun. I love the character of Viv, who is an orc warrior. It's reminding me so much of role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, and just old school fantasy. It reminds me, it's not, at least so far, it's not laugh out loud funny, but there's another book called Orcs by Mary Gentle, I believe. That is hilarious. That's a complete. The book is too long, I think, for the type of book it is, but it's hilarious. Okay. Oh, going antiquing tomorrow. I might find vintage books. I thought you were on a book ban, Lynette. Oh, Lay the Heaven. Yeah. I think that's a novella, right? It's pretty short. You know, the PBS did or BBC did a live action Lathe of Heaven or adaptation, which was an adaptation. It wasn't that great, but it didn't capture the Lathe of Heaven. Oh, your friends will be buying for me, so it won't be a book ban. Oh, tricky. Reading the Darkness Outside for a queer sci-fi fantasy book circle. I don't know that one. Oh no, you're so bored you want to DNF. Yeah. You know the is it sci-fi or fan? Okay, sci-fi or fantasy. The recent one I'd recommend is the Annie Leckie's Ancillary Justice. But the two fantasy books were written by heterosexual, so I don't know if that's like a no-no these days, but the Harold Mage series by Mercedes Lackey is one of my favorite gay series. And The Warrior's Tale by Chris Bunch and Alan Coles, one of my favorite fantasy lesbian stories. But of course, there's always a female man. You can't go wrong with the female man for those reading circles. Cabin at the End of the World. So you're now reading two books, a Robin Hobb Elderling novella. I haven't read her novellas. I love the Elderling series. And a rom-com. Sci-fi historical novel. Oh, happy birthday. Oh, I missed your birthday. Happy birthday, Lynette. Yay. Woo. By the way, this is the 100th episode of this live stream. And the number's probably wrong, but because I think I didn't track them correctly, but it's at least, I probably hit 100 a couple of live streams ago, but that's kind of crazy. 65. Well, some of us are catching up to you. So legislate, and I hope you have plenty of snacks and coffee. It will make you crave them. It was making me crave coffee because Viv, our orc main character, was describing the smell of coffee, and I didn't have a coffee because I had just I was in bed reading, so I didn't have a drink. But I was like, oh, coffee, yeah. Happy birthday. And big. Okay, I haven't gotten that far. I don't know who Thimble is. Many happy returns. The Cat's Guide to Bonding with Dragons was a fun read, 4 to 5. Oh, there's a, since we're speaking of sort of funny fantasy books, there's a book I haven't read, but I want to read. It's by Diana Wynne, wrote Howl's Moving Castle. Diana Jones Wynne. She wrote mostly middle grade novels, but she wrote a few adult books. But one of them was a satire on the fantasy genre. Like you go to through this, I think it's a portal fantasy, and you have to have stew because all fantasy characters have to have stew or something like that. But I haven't read it. I've heard about it. I got to remember. It's one of those books where I think, oh, I want to read that, but then you forget to pick it up. Oh, you read The Female Man last week. I hope you didn't fall asleep on that one. I love that book. You finished The Tower at the End of Time, which is a sequel to The House at the. I love those titles. I don't think I've read them though. Yeah, I should look up With Potatoes. the stew. I'm going to look up this Diana Wynne Jones. Diana Wynne Jones, fantasy, satire. The Tough Guide to Fantasyland. And I believe it's considered adult fantasy. Hey, if you guys want to do a reading, a book discussion, maybe we should do that one. Okay. $65 is pretty epic. I agree, Sandra. Okay, I got to get started. I think I'm going to, I grabbed a bunch of purple stuff. I'm just going to do purple this week. So looking for a dark purple. Really trying to get these things even. But you know me. Okay. Okay, is this even? I don't know. Even enough. Good enough for me. And by the way, I did not fall asleep during The Female Man. It was not an easy read, but it was really interesting. Yeah, it's a fascinating novel. And if you don't know, it's I think there's 4 characters, right? But they're all obviously different versions of the author, who's Joanna Russ. But I think one of the characters is actually named Joanna, and the others are like different variations of Joanna. And so one's from contemporary 70s, and one's from a utopia where there's only women. And then there's one, I think there's like a war between men and women. And then there's one that's where World War II never happened, so women never entered the workplace. So it was kind of retrograde in terms of women's roles. And of course, it's alternate dimensions. They jump around to different dimensions and meet each other. Really cool. Okay, anyway. Let's see if this purple's any darker. Yeah. But for Legends and Lattes, I'm really happy that it's apparently gotten so much acclaim, or people are talking about it. Because I really didn't think it would be that type of book that would. Because I don't think anyone really talked about Mary Gentle's Orcs. But of course, Orcs was pre-internet, I think. I want to say it was in the 90s, but it could have been in the 80s. Turning off the phone. I always turn off the phone for these live streams and then forget to turn it on. And okay, now the hard thing about purple is there's no real transition except like a really, really light lilac. I wish. Let me check something out real quick. Oh, this is really dark. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, wait a minute. I have this kimchi palette somewhere. Where did I put it? The only thing about this palette are it's so tiny. Look how tiny those, I mean, compared to like anyway. Oops. Oh, Britta read The Female Man. Yes. I'm not sure my classic sci-fi for next month will be. I read Wild Seed in January. Left Hand. Is Wild Seed considered classic? I feel so old. When you remember a book when it was published, you're like, wait a sec, that's a classic? I remember that one. Give us some options and we will pick them up for you. For me, I guess classic is anything before 70. I really think like the golden age of science fiction was in the 50s. But 60s, I think, is when science fiction really came into its own. Fantasy really didn't get a start, in my opinion, until the late 70s, early 80s. I don't know why. I mean, there was fantasy before then. It just didn't come into its own as a genre. Because I remember bookstores, there would just be the science fiction section, and the fantasy would be shelved in it or with it, but it wasn't called science fiction and fantasy. And if you go like Walden's bookstores back in the day. Okay. So we're going to go. So Dennis and I have still been watching Breaking Bad. And again, I'm finding out why it's such a critically acclaimed show. It's funny that it's been, we're watching these shows that were popular, 10 years ago or more. And there's only 5 seasons. So, and obviously they weren't expecting this to be a hit. Because the first season was only 7 episodes. It's almost like a half season. And then they expanded it to 12 or 13 episodes the following season. But again, it's not for everyone. I didn't want to watch it because I didn't really think I'd be interested in a show about school teacher making meth. But it's the characters and the sub-stories and subplots and relationship with the wife and the son. And the son is in the show has MS, and apparently the actor that played him did too. So that's kind of cool. I know what I should talk to you guys about. There's a show on Amazon, which I just saw by myself because I didn't think Dennis would be interested, because it was described as a comedy thriller. They're only like half-hour episodes. And it's actually a horror based on a something little. I forget the horror writer's name. Called The Consultant. And it's really bizarre, really speculative. And you just have to be like those Twilight Zone type stories, because really that's what it was. Okay, these colors are not blending. So Gateway. Frederick Pohl's Beyond the Blue Event Horizon series. Yeah, I guess that's a class. I think it was written in the 70s. Maybe it was written in the 60s. But yeah, I really enjoyed Gateway too. And Gateway, I think, was sort of a frame novel, and the frame was this guy being psychoanalyzed and then thinking back to his or recounting his voyage to a black hole or something. Love Gateway. Don't think I have many unread classic on Kindle. Lynette says anything before 1980. I'm a classic. We're all classics here. Okay, vintage. I like vintage. I am on season 5. We just started season 5, Britta. Bentley Little, yes. The Consultant. Yes, it's with Christopher Waltz. I liked it. I thought it was, I don't know why they labeled it, at least on my Amazon, as comedy thriller, because I just thought, I guess I can see the comedy part, but I don't know why they didn't just straight up say it's also horror. especially with the speculative element to it. Yeah, what's the actor's name? Christopher Waltz. Such a great actor. He's really a good actor. Because for the role he plays, the actor needs to come across with this otherworldly presence that I think he nailed. But yeah, I haven't read anything by Bentley Little. But I was just like looking up at the what do you call it? The credits. The beginning credits, it said based on a novel by, so I looked them up. Okay, so I want to blend this out. It's really light. You can't even see. Oh, well, I can see it. Oh, so for my videos I'm going to do today, I thought about, I'm just going to do one on solar punk, because it's such a new genre, and so just started talking about what the genre is. Especially since I think we've all read Prayer for Crown Shy and Song for the Wild Bill. But I just read Annalee Newitt's Terraformer, which I only gave 3 stars because I was a little disappointed that it was presented as sort of this generational story about this planet being terraformed, and it covers like thousands of years. And to terraform a planet takes like 10,000 years in total. And I felt it was a little fragmented. It was like reading 3 novellas, and there were just so many ideas crammed in that it's sort of, for me, got in the way of the story. But I think it's so interesting of this solar punk genre that no one really talks about. Okay, so to do a purple, I really need black to deepen the color. And I've noticed when I've been editing photos, I've been going too light on the black. I really need to go a little heavier. So let's see. Not going to shy away from the black. I'll try to smoke it a little with the purple. So has anyone read anything by this Bentley Little? I've only read one of Bentley Little books. I can't remember the title. I think when I looked him up, they said he was a discovery of Dean Koontz. So it was okay, and I thought I might eventually read more books by him. And I think he's also, I may be wrong on this, but I think he's inspired by Lovecraft too. There's like cosmic horror elements. The book I read was The Resort, and I have The Store in my TBR. Interesting. I was reading articles on solar punk and agreed that Star Trek is solar punk. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, the term wasn't coined until the 2000s, but you can certainly look back and see other books and movies that go into that category. But the one that I see a lot come up was Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke and Nausicaa. A bummer about the new Annalee Newitz. I haven't read it yet, but I really liked her previous. Well, you might like this one. I don't know. I could be the only one. I mean, there were elements I liked. My favorite one was the first. I mean, it's divided into 3 parts, and they have different characters in each part. The last part, which is the furthest in the future, is a relationship between a train and a cat. So it was. The writer has an imagination, no denying that. Okay, so I think I'm going to do some black eyeliner. Okay. Debating with myself whether I'll be releasing TJ Klune's new book when it's released, or you'll be reading, I assume, TJ Klune's new book. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of his last one, In the Lives of Puppets. Okay. So now I'm going to just going in with the purple on the inside now. Oh, what do I do with kimchi? Okay. I hope this is going to film better than it's looking. It's looking patchy, but I think it's the glare of the light. I don't think it's actually patchy. Anyway. Whether I will be reading, it's about robots inspired by Pinocchio. What is it with this resurgence of Pinocchio? There's been like I've seen like a couple of Pinocchio movies on Netflix, and Walt Disney did a live action version, which is awful. But it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. I don't know. Pinocchio is like suddenly there's a resurgence in Pinocchio. Okay. Only read one of his books, but I get the impression this new one has a similar tune, some sort of cozy feel-good fantasy. Who are we talking about? Oh, TJ Klune. Okay. Nate, thank you for coming. Thank you, Nate. We're just here being nerds, talking about, and Lex is here. Hey, welcome back, Lex. Talking about books and shows and life, I guess. Okay, so okay, cutting the crease, I'm going to do okay, I guess I'll just do a little bit of purple, but just do purple, then go to silver. Or should I do pink? No, I'm just going to do, I said it's going to be a purple look today, so I'm going to just get some. Finally finished packing. Oh, I thought you should get a house before you pack. Where are you moving? Yipes. I haven't read that one, 10 Hawks from Earth. Yeah, I tell you, moving is one of the most stressful things. And the further you move, the more stressful it is. I can't even imagine like moving to another country. I guess unless you're in Europe, then all the countries are real close together, but I should say another continent. And it can be so costly. Oh my gosh. Moving to the Bay Area, I mean, from the Bay Area to Las Vegas was not fun. Okay. Yeah, I'm not talking much because I'm trying to focus to do this. Cut crease. Okay, so I'm going to start. And cut it with the okay. How are we doing? An alternate Earth where the American continent never existed. Oh, so no potatoes, no tobacco. Moving to Tacoma. If I was moving to another continent, I would just sell off. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. Whatever you can take on a suitcase. What a pain to get it to you. I love Sonoma. I lived in San Francisco from like 89 to 2010. And then I moved to Oakland for a while. And then I moved to, actually, probably till like 2015. Kind of miss San Francisco, but it's changed so much since what it was like in the 80s. Sweden to India to back. Wow. It was not too bad. You have to accept you're going to get rid of stuff. Time at Mardi Gras. Wow, never left your hometown. Yeah, my friend Gary, who lives in, I was going to say San Francisco, but San Bruno, which is, if you know, the Bay Area is pretty close. But he's not only lived in the same city or neighborhood, he's lived in the same house. He's in his 70s now, but but yeah, the house he grew up in and his mother owned, she passed on to him. So that is tiny, 260K. I prefer a city, but got a job and a girlfriend in Mumbai. Did not last as long as you hoped. Yeah, when you're younger, it's easier, I think, than when you're sort of settled. Well, you know why? It's because on the Pacific coast, that's where all the Asian immigrants settled. They all came from, very few immigrants actually came from China to New York. They had to go through the ports in San Francisco and LA and Seattle, and you'll notice the Chinatowns there and Japantowns, if you have them. There's not very many Japantowns anymore. And that's because after World War II, there weren't many Japanese immigrants as there were anyway. Or even Thai towns and Vietnamese. They all start on the West Coast. So like you'd be surprised in San Francisco how many Thai restaurants there are. Okay, let's go. Need a brush, need a brush, need a brush. Okay, here we go. Brushing off this bake and this glitter or shimmer, whatever you want to call it, goes everywhere. Oh, no. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the Chroma Cake Black to and Chroma Cake is just a water-based face paint, but this is the MAC version, which is super dark. And apparently one of these cakes, unless you use it to like paint your whole body, will last basically forever. So oops. Okay, Fit to be Red's here. Yay! Wanted to leave my like and hang out in the background. Thank you for hanging out. You're half Filipino, and I was pretty alone. I was pretty lonely as an Asian on the East Coast. Can we talk, Nate? Can we talk? I'm half Japanese, and like I said, there aren't really many enclaves anymore of Japanese Americans. There used to be, but there's not like an influx of new Japanese Americans. Anyway, we're getting off track, but there were definitely more Japanese Americans, like my family, on the West Coast. But then we moved to the East Coast when I was like 10 years old. No, like 12 years old. And that's where I went to middle school and high school. And I swear I was the only Asian for a while. And then by the time I got to high school, there's like 3 of us. And then it was predominantly white. I think there were like a couple of black kids, 1 or 2 Jewish kids. So yeah, I know what it's like. It sucks. It sucks. I think Filipina is probably the fastest growing Asian population in the US. Moved 17 times. Wow, Britta, you beat us all. 5 times to another country. Britta wins. Yay. I have lived in my current house for 14 years. And that's before that for 29 years. Yeah. Oh, and if you didn't know, my husband is Filipino. Okay. Oh, hold on. I have a half sister, and she just messaged me that her son, my nephew, wants to stay with us. So I'm going to say, great. What do I need to know? I need to know time. Tell us time. I'm still not great at like typing. Typing on these cell phones, and I actually got a Bluetooth keyboard just to use on my cell phone. Sorry about that. We're arranging because I think he's coming here. I'm going to send you your percent. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Sorry about that. If you don't know, I think my nephew's like traveling to, and he's going to do like a cross country or something. But the weather, if you're not in America, or maybe it's the same wherever you are, has been crazy. I mean, it was snowing in Vegas. I think there's snow on the Hollywood sign in LA. So I've been having really cold weather. So anyway, staying with us for so he doesn't freeze to death wherever he's going. Okay. I need to. Okay. Okay. We're done with the hard part. I do want to put some color under the eyes. I'm just going to keep it all purple. I feel like Filipinos and Asians in general are excited to meet other Asians. Well, whenever you're in the minority, there is sort of this solidarity of seeing other people that look like you. You went to the same primary school as your dad. One day your sister called to the office and told off for writing her name in a library book. Wow. Oh, that's so funny. Your dad had to go to the principal and admit to her that he's the one that wrote his name 40 years ago. That is great. That is a great story. I vaguely remember bookmobiles. Are you a sensitivity reader? Hey, I'm always on the lookout for beta readers. I write unpublished, but trying to break into writing middle grade. Okay, so what did I say? Purple. Okay, and kimchi. And finally, try to smoke out the black. One of the highlights of your childhood is waiting at the end of your street for the bookmobile. I only vaguely remember bookmobiles. Now I remember the ice cream truck. Kids that really loved books. Oh, thank you, Nate. Yeah, I'll let Nate explain it. Just like any other editor, but specifically for checking for accuracy for representations. More, yeah. So so nothing's like offensive for. I assume maybe Nate reads for Asians, so there's not like stereotypes or cultural slights that the author may not be aware of that they're using. And it's not just race too, but it's like if you're hearing impaired or visually impaired and writing a story, like Brandon Sanderson's novel Tress that he did for his Kickstarter, he mentioned that he had a sensitivity reader for the representation of the deaf character in his story. Okay, I think I'm done with the eyes. There's so much glitter on my face. Yeah. I do want to. Okay. Important job. I read a book a while ago about the portrayal of people with disabilities, scars in books. Huh. Stereotypes, cultural slights, how that character is developed throughout their arc if they have one. What happens to them? Oh, autism. Interesting. Scars are often portrayed as a sign of evilness in books. Yeah. Lips. You know what? I'm just going to do the red lips. I was momentarily thinking maybe I should do purple lips, but I think I want to just keep it red. Oh shoot, where's my tiny little lip brush? Try this. Because I remember I did the outline in black before. Did I like that? I think I like that. Okay. Many years ago, I used to go to a women's group where one woman had received burns to about 60%. Oh my God. It's a miracle she's living. Some of the other mothers didn't want her there because she, that's. They should read that middle grade book, Wonder. Which I think was made into a movie. Maybe I should have gone purple. No, I'm going to go. I can't decide. Yeah, I think I'll do purple. I think I'm running out of purple, which is probably why. By the way, for anyone putting on bright colored makeup, purple stains your skin more than any other color. I don't know why. Put a little. Yeah, this glitter I just put on has a blue shift. So I don't know if that was a good or bad thing, but we're going with it. Oh, I haven't done this yet, but there's a. Can I share this with you? There was a comment on my Lovecraft video, which isn't a great video, but it was really anti-drag, anti-trans. Anyway, how do I share me and StreamYard? Present. Googly moogly. Not. How do I add? Oh, here we go. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll just read it to you. It says, I can't read W.H. Pugmire because you know he's, well, like you. All that makeup is not even how women wear their makeup. Well, duh. This is drag. Y'all are parody spitting on femininity. And then he goes on. About it. But I was like, well, who is W.H. Pugmire? So I've never heard that name before. So I looked them up, and I think he's, or she, or they are no longer alive, but dressed in, I don't know if he was transsexual or what the story was, but they wrote these Lovecraftian short stories. And I'm like, I should just read this person just to spite this guy and then maybe do a video on him. So I think his books are really hard to get, though, because since he died, I don't know if it was sudden or not, and I don't know what his the publishers looked like to be indie Lovecraftian publishers, so I don't know how accessible they are on Kindle. But darn it, I think I'm going to read something by W.H. Pugmire. Just and I'll throw on this guy's comment. It's like, thank you for introducing me to this trans writer, you bigoted person. Okay, so let's throw on. Like I said, I just grabbed purple. Oh, eyelashes. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Called them nasty bitches. Good for you, Lynette. One of the mothers of a child in my son's class complained about him being disabled and that his son's education. What? No comment. Bye, Lori. Her son was one of the most disruptive in the class, and your son had cerebral palsy. Wow. Yep. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. Yeah. I'm not saying that no woman wears their makeup like drag, but if you guys realized how much makeup I'm actually wearing, I mean, it can't be good for you to wear it all the time for lengthy periods of time. Oops. Are these the eyelashes? Okay. Oops. Yeah. Where is... Okay, so I think we're done with the makeup. So for, earrings, I got on these big earrings. And then I got my updo wig, the big, my latest wig. I've been looking at Friston wigs and thinking, oh, maybe I should get one more wig. If I was thinking about it, I would have got one for this 100th episode. But anyway, there she is. And put on some gloves. Oh, and I got on AliExpress, I think it's AliExpress. I got a couple of big old costume jewelry things. But I mean, they're really cheap, but this is the ring I got. I mean, it's like really, really cheap plastic, but this is drag and it's just for videos. So I have a, look, can I zoom out? You can see more of the wig. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the final look. And I think we did okay today. Need to head out. Glad you stopped by, Nate. Hope you can drop by again. You had to be diplomatic about your refusal. Thank you, Britta. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. I'll be here next week, and I hope you can join us. And as usual, until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.